This time, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to direct your attention to the nation's flag as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Good evening and welcome to a damp Portland campus for tonight's matchup between the Portland Pilots and the Pacific Tigers in a WCC showdown. I'm Brian Slyke, joined by former Pilot Carly Jumanen, and we'll have your call tonight. The Pilots took a 3-set sweep last time they were in the Child Center and looked to bounce back after the Waves got the best of them in Malibu on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Pacific enters winners in their last match against San Francisco, but itching to even up their conference record tonight. So Carly, these two teams, they're young and fighting to get better tonight. What are you expecting?
Well, I have not had the opportunity to see Pacific play, but they look good in warm-ups, and they look like they have a little bit of height on the UP squad. But I was fortunate to see the Pilots game opener against Gonzaga, and they were super pumped to play for their home crowd, and they swept, like you said, the Zags in 3, and they had lots of energy and enthusiasm. So I'm excited to see if they can carry on that momentum into this match.
Well, one of the young stars for Pacific is Alexa Edwards, who's done great on the pin all season for the Tigers.
Yes, she currently leads the Tigers in kills with 209, and she's an all-around player, ranking 3rd for her team in digs. And she last game had a double-double, and she's the reason why the Tigers can be heard in the West Coast Conference.
And the Pilots, they're riding behind their junior setter, Nolani Helm.
Yes, this is her year of growth, and she's really become a leader on this team. She swings and sets for the Pilots, and if you see her on the other side of the net, you better know where she's at in the rotation, otherwise she will hurt you.
Let's get you the starting lineups for both teams. We'll start off with the Tigers. Out on the court for them is going to be our player to watch, Alexa Edwards, followed by Jaden Tubbs. Jenna Heller will be the setter. Romani Cook will be hitting out of the middle, along with Kennedy Kaminsky, Sedona Sherman, and Darina Kumanova will also be hitting on the pin for the Tigers. Now let's get you the lineup for your Portland Pilots. Gianna Lawson getting this start. Alyssa Murioka will be the DS in the back row. Nolani Helm, your setter, and our player to watch. Emma Sweat getting the start, along with Chelsea Harmon out of the middle. Paloma Bowman will be working around in the 6-2, and Grace Zilbert, the libero for the Pilots in tonight's contest. The coaches for both sides for the Pacific Tigers, it's Greg Gibbons coaching in his 11th season. His assistants are Katie Hookman and Corey Ricks. For the Pilots, Megan Burton in her 2nd season, and what we could probably consider her first real season after that spring year. Dylan Hamilton on the bench with her, along with Evan Lee as well. And one of the fun things about this Pilot team is the Hawaiian connection. All the coaches come from the islands, and a couple of the players as well from the past, and on this year's squad also coming from the island. So you love to see that family atmosphere coming to the mainland. As here you get to see the starters throwing out the volleyballs to the fans, which is also a new occurrence this season. We had the opportunity to be in the building last Saturday and actually have some of the hecklers back in the Child Center and the fans. And let me tell you, the women were feeding off of it the entire match.
I think they got us to laugh a few times.
Yeah, they did. And this is an interesting matchup. We talked about it very briefly in the open, but the youngness on both squads. The Tigers are starting a freshman setter. Meanwhile, a lot of this Portland team, yes, they've got 3 juniors that they heavily rely on, but a lot of the younger players are going the extra mile this season and trying to prove themselves. And you can't ask for anything more really out of your players.
Exactly. I just think that they're hungry as a underclassmen, and so just like you said, to prove themselves and make an impact on their team to carry that through into their upperclassmen years.
And we are seeing a bit of a different starting lineup for the Pilots.
Yeah. Early in the season, though, lots of, I swear, we're always trying out new lineups.
Yeah, and talking with Coach Burton about their whole preseason was all about trying out these different lineups and getting everybody some playing time. You might have just heard the announcement over the intercom about the challenges in the match. It was 3 challenges guaranteed in non-conference play. Now we're in conference play. It's actually 2. And then you get to keep your challenge if you get it right, and then you get an automatic challenge if you go to the 5th set.
Okay.
So you get your 3rd one there.
Yes, this is all new to me.
Well, they've changed it around the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And now we are set to start. Jade Harris actually with the start. She will be serving from the back line. Set to the outside. Kumanova with the first swing. Sweat gets the point on the back line. And looks like they called a net violation on Darina Kumanova. So Jade Harris back to serve, the junior from Vista Murrieta, California. Good save from Heller. The reset for the Tigers, not enough. Too far on the swing. The Pilots opening up with a 2-0 lead. Harris, the last time the Pilots were playing here, swung one of the best games she's had in a Pilot uniform, and she comes up short on this serve by hitting over 420 in that match against Gonzaga, 11 kills.
Yeah, she definitely had a game that day.
Darina Kumanova back to serve. Freshman from Sofia, Bulgaria. Actually a transfer from UMBC, the former American East Conference Player of the Year. Out of the middle, Lawson swinging high, no touch. And that point will go to the Tigers. "16 aces on the season for Kumanova. Too strong on this one, and the Pilots retake their 1-point lead here in set number 1. And Zilbert heads to the bench. Chelsea Harmon comes onto the court for the Pilots. Gianna Lawson back to serve. Lawson, a sophomore from Tucson, Arizona. A laser of a serve there. Set out of the middle. Lawson there for the cover. Sweat down the line. Dug up by Tubbs. Bowman on the first touch. Helm, the bump set, and Sweat. Too short on the roll.
But nice idea. I think she saw a little opening there, but just hit the ball just a little bit.
Some of the freshman woes.
Yes.
Jaden Tubbs back to serve, the junior from Turlock, California. The back set, Helm rolling, and Tubbs getting a fist on it. Back row set to Jade Harris. She'll send the free ball over. Down the line, got a fist on it. Zilbert, the free ball. Cook swinging right side into the block, falling on the Pilots' side. And the Tigers will pick up their first lead in tonight's match. Sweat going up on the solo block, just drifting on that one. Tubbs into the net. Nevaeh Bray checking in. Paloma Bowman will head to the bench. Part of that 6-2 rotation that the Pilots are doing. With Bowman going to the front row, they transition her out. Helm in the back now to set as she serves here. Good quick out of the middle. Harris unable to get the second touch. And the kill for Sedona Sherman. Lucy Carpenter coming into the game along with Gabby Leo for the Tigers. Cook and Heller to the bench. Leo, a senior from Phoenix, Arizona. Setting from the back row, great defensive player. Sweat had the initial serve, and the Pilots, scrappy play, able to get it over. And the kill on the outside by Edwards. Freshman from Sacramento, California with the kill. As Gabby Leo goes back to serve again. Sweat taking the serve. Set back to her. Another swing out of the middle for the Tigers. Dug up by Helm. Sweat swinging long, and they got a touch call, though, and it'll be Pilots' point.
Oh, some great hustle play from Helm. Great dig. Good pickup before that.
Sweat heads to the bench, and Kaylani Mumowo back to serve. Freshman from Rancho Cucamonga, California. Good pass from Tubbs, and the block, but it'll be a kill out of the middle for Sedona Sherman. Alexa Edwards back to serve. Long serve touched by Jade Harris first, saved by Zilbert, and reset for the Tigers. Carpenter with the kill, touched by Zilbert. Right now, the Pilots are just not passing to what they're used to doing.
Yes.
As Mumowo proves me wrong right there. The swing for Harmon into the block. No coverage from the Pilots. And a point for the Tigers.
Yeah, they can't get insistent when they're passing balls that are more closer to the 10-foot line than the net.
Edwards into the net.
Pilots will gladly take that one.
It was a nice 3-set sweep against Gonzaga on Saturday, but they were gifted a lot of free points with how Gonzaga was serving
and swinging.
And swinging on the outside. At one point, Gonzaga was hitting negative throughout the match. And this is more what the Pilots want, getting the Tigers out of rotation from the service line. The back set to Bray, too long. And point for Pacific as Tubbs heads to the bench. Coming back out for the middle is Kennedy Kaminsky. Sedona Sherman back to serve, the sophomore from Litchfield Park, Arizona. Great pass from Mumowo, the set, and the kill from Jade Harris.
That was a beautiful jump set where it held their middle blocker, so then it made the net wide open for Jade to swing away.
That's Paloma Bowman. We'll go back to serve. Here's another look at that last one.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you notice that Jade didn't go with a full swing on that one because of how close she was to the net. She redirected it with a tip, and it worked out for the Pilots. Looked like a type of slide out of the middle for Kaminsky. Cook and Heller back on the court for the Tigers. And the Tigers have already run a few quicks out of the middle, and the Pilots are not ready for it early in set one. Zilbert with a pass, back set to Harris. A roll shot finding its way in the back section of the court. As Mumowo checks out, Emma Sweat now back on the court for the Pilots. And a dump from Heller. Bowman couldn't get her hand underneath it. Something to keep an eye on for the rest of the match. Even though the setters are in the back row, that move by Heller right there, the small jump set and just a quick dump over.
Can be super deceptive, but catch their defense on their toes or on their heels more or less.
The roll from Helm, saved by Heller. The setter's out. Beautiful bump set by Tubbs. Saved, the swing by Sweat. That one will drop off the block of Cook and Kaminsky. As Alexa Edwards is slow to get up. Pilots back within 3 as Gianna Lawson going back to serve. Chelsea Harmon back in the front row. Zilbert to the bench. One-handed set by Heller on the back row attack.
Beautiful.
And this one's going over. Cook unable to redirect it. Point for the Pilots, and those are the mistakes that you can't have if you're Pacific.
Yeah, you need to take care of every single one of those overpasses and make your opponent pay for that.
Seems as if Cook was off the net more than she thought she was. Unable to get it over. Great serve by Lawson. Bowman with the first touch. Helm swinging into the block, and Kaminsky and Cook are there to shut her down. Kaminsky will head to the bench. Tubbs back out to serve, and Sedona Sherman back on the court.
Oh, yeah, she had a wall facing her when she went to hit that ball.
Back row attack for Jade Harris off the tape, though, slowing it down for the back row dig. Helm the roll shot, and miscommunication between Cook and Tubbs. Nobody able to get a hand on it, and that'll be a kill for Helms. Beautiful back set by Heller, and Cook able to finish it off. The Tigers back to their 3-point lead.
She was so smooth going into that spike approach.
Lucy Carpenter back on the court along with Gabby Leo. In the back row, she's set to serve. And that'll be the first ace of the night. Leo will pick up her 7th ace on the season. She had 4 in their last match against San Francisco. And that'll be immediate timeout. 15-11 Pacific leading Portland here in set number 1 inside the Child Center. We'll be right back with the rest of set 1 on the WCC Network. Welcome back inside the Child Center. Set 1. Pacific currently leading Portland 15-11. Brian Slack and Carly Jumanen with your call. As Gabby Leo back to serve out of the timeout called by Portland. Bowman swinging the deep tip, saved in the back row by Kumanova.
The crowd didn't like that set.
Back set, the Carpenter touched by Jade Harris, and the kill for the Tigers.
One thing I noticed is the Tigers are really kind of mixing it up with who they're setting. So it's like making it hard for our defensive to set up because their setter's doing a nice job of setting deceptively and setting their middle, setting their outside, setting their right side, mixing it up.
And a lot of that has to come from plays just like this, off the serve, getting Portland out of rotation, and then you get a free ball. Great set out in the middle, and a kill. This one by Sedona Sherman. That'll be her second kill of the night, and another timeout called. This time, 17-11, Portland trailing by 6 in set 1. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. Welcome back inside the Childs Center. Correction, that was the first timeout for Portland. First one was immediate timeout. Another tough pass off the serve. Bowman, not very much to work with on that angle where she got the set into the block of the Tigers, and another point as Pacific pushing that run to now 5 points in a row.
So when they've passed it to the setter way off the 10-foot line, the only option she has is to set it outside so the blockers can release and just camp out there, and she's just got this wall that she's got to hit around.
And the set, Sweat somehow to get it down the net and across, and a free ball over. Out of the middle. And that's what Coach Burton wants to see on the bench right there. Chelsea Harmon with the kill.
Yes, we got to get those other hitters involved so that their defense can get a little surprise.
Sweat off to the bench as Keilani Mumolo back to serve. Great serve by her, and the overpass, and Harmon capitalizing on that one.
That's what you were talking about. We got to take care of those kinds of balls because it's like a gimme. It's a free point right there. We started out with a great serve.
Edwards, Carpenter, and Sherman hitting for the Tigers. Sherman out of the middle, and Mumolo got a hand on it.
That's a quick middle attack right there. It's hard for the defense to adjust.
Talking with Coach Burton, that was one of the things that she emphasizes in practice for her team, is attacking from that back line, making the serves difficult. And right now the Tigers seem to be making easy work of them. Outside to Harris, down the line. And no, they're saying out of bounds into the pin, possibly. Looking at the line judge, threw up his flag. So the point will go to the Tigers. They now lead 20-13 here in set 1. Pancake by Helm. The overpass by Zilbert. And the up ref saying that one touched the ground. I definitely saw Helm's hand get underneath it.
Yeah.
That one hit her on her wrist, and then Zilbert saved it. That ball was up. We'll see if
she decides to use that.
If they use a challenge, it'd only be for a redo because she blew the play dead.
True. That's true.
And now she's going to challenge it. One of her 2 challenges she gets because this is a conference match.
Okay.
And personally, I think this should be an easy challenge, an easy win for Coach Burton. From our vantage point, it looked like Helm got her hand easily underneath that ball.
Right.
And there shouldn't even be an issue of Zilbert touching it because she just passed it over for the most part.
Sure.
And here's another replay of it off the top of the tape. And Helm getting that hand flat underneath. Great pancake.
Having that instant replay, that slow motion makes it completely obvious for the down ref to be able to overturn that. Great up Helm. Right? That's when it breaks your heart as a DS. You're like, what? No, that's up.
And again, this would most likely result in a replay because she blew the whistle in the middle of the play if it is overturned. And it looks like the down referee is ready to go, and that's Marcia Costley. The referees today, Lisa Walter, Marcia Costley, then Gregory Clark, and Kelly Damianu. Amy Harrison is the scorekeeper. And so that one will go in favor of Portland, and it will be a redo. So with the conference rules, with the challenge, because Coach Burton was right, she gets to keep that challenge.
Okay, that makes sense.
And she still has 2 for the rest of the first 4 sets. And then the 5th set, you automatically get 1 added on. So with the reset on it, 20-13, Alexa Edwards back to serve. Out of the middle, it's Harmon Carpenter. Dropping to a knee. Helm, the high bump set, tight to the net. Harris, nothing to do but into the block. And miscommunication between the 2 setters on the court, between Bowman and Helm.
But great hitter coverage by the libero.
Two touches, and Harris sends the free ball over for the middle. And the quick out of the reach of Sherman. The roll, that one's down. Kumanova tried to get her hand underneath that one, but no luck as Grace Zilbert goes back to serve. Chelsea Harmon heads to the bench. The bump set, Kumanova high off the block. Mumowo keeping a track on it. And a fantastic swing by Jade Harris.
That had a little heat on it.
Off the block and even in the back row. Trying to save face. Zilbert leading this team with 14 aces on the season coming into today. Set to the outside. This one never got over the tape.
Jade was ready for it, though.
And Pacific will call their first timeout of the set with the Pilots on a 3-0 scoring run. It's 21-16, Pacific leading Portland in set 1 on the WCC Network. Welcome back inside the Child Center. 5-point lead, make it a 6-point lead now for the Tigers after the service error by Grace Zilbert. Kennedy Kaminsky checking back in. Jaden Tubbs to the bench, and Sedona Sherman serving for the Tigers. Great float serve, catching Harris off guard, and a free ball over. Carpenter into the block, and it'll go on the Pilots' side, down the net. 23-16. And Coach Burton will call a timeout for the Pilots. That's her second one of this set, and that'll be the final one for set number 1 for her. We head to break, 23-16. Pilots trailing the Tigers. We'll be back on the WCC Network. Welcome back inside the Child Center. Sedona Sherman back to serve for the Tigers, 23-16. Pilots trying them out to come back in set 1. Bowman, the tip in the middle. Neither Sherman or Carpenter going for it. Bowman back to serve as Jaden Tubbs comes back into the back row for the Tigers.
I feel like the Pilots have been most successful with some off-speed shots or tip shots and good placements.
Out of the middle, Kaminsky almost palming that ball. Harris tried to go high off the block. They got a touch. And the Pilots staying in this one, now down by 5.
Hear the crowd going, "You can do it."
Kaminsky, Carpenter, and Kumanova swinging for the Tigers. Carpenter into the block, got it off the side of Harris's arm, going line. Zilbert trying to cover, unable to do so. And set point now for the Tigers in set 1. Jenna Heller back to serve, a freshman from Gilbert, Arizona. Perfect pass from Zilbert. Harris. Cook with a roll shot. Mumowo on the dig. Lawson out of the middle, tipped. Heller got her hand underneath it. This one will go out of bounds. Point for the Pilots. Jade Harris back to serve.
Yeah, just a little off speed there. Maybe able to get it.
Sweat can't get the kill. And somehow Heller able to fist it over. And the overpass dropping for the Tigers. And that'll end set 1. Pacific takes it 25-19. We'll be right back with set number 2 inside the Child Center on the WCC Network. Welcome back inside the Child Center, the start of set number 2. Harris, Bowman, Helm, Mumolo, Lawson, Zilbert, and Harmon will be out there for the Pilots. Tubbs, Edwards, Heller, Kaminsky, Cook, and Kumanova on the court for the Tigers to start out set number 2. And some of the things that you and I were talking about, Carly, during that break. Hitting out of the middle for the Tigers was successful. On the other side for the Pilots, what was successful was the off-speed hitting for them. But overall, I think if we were to talk to Coach Burton, she was not probably pleased with the passing of the Pilots in set 1, and that's something they're going to have to clean up.
For sure.
Out to Harris, the strong attack kept alive by Tubbs. Out of the middle and out of bounds. Point for the Tigers. Coach Burton off the bench looked like she might go over to challenge that one if she got the okay from her players, but nobody telling her to go and check in on that one. Heller back for her second serve. Tip for Bowman. Kumanova with an attack. Helm there to dig it out. And Jade Harris muscling that one through the block of Cook and Kaminsky.
Almost a slight collision, little communication error right there with Libero and setter. Who's going to take that ball?
And here's another look at it.
Oh, most.
Split the block. Cook into the block of Lawson and Bowman. She'll send a free ball over. Harris had the solo block on Cook, but the soft block keeps it alive. And a point for the Pilots. Lawson and Harris in the face of Cook. And they called a double on the Tigers that time around. Back set, Kumanova into the platform of Mumoa. Lawson out of the middle with a tip. Harris off the hands, that'll be a point and a kill for the Pilots. Such patience that time with Harris. She could have jumped early, but she waited for it, saw the apex of where the ball was, and timed that one perfectly. A dump by Heller, the Pilots ready this time. The back row attack by Edwards. Zilbert digs this one. Harris again off the block. Harris picking up her 8th kill of the night.
Looks like she started to attack down that line.
Finding some success. There is that about a foot of space between the pin going down the line. Cook didn't quite close it out. And Zilbert's serve, good eyes from Edwards calling that one out. Service error will give a point back to the Tigers.
Do love that aggressive jump serve she has, though.
Starina Kumanova back to serve. The back set to Bowman, strong on that one. Kumanova coming to Pacific fresh off of an American East Conference title at UMBC. Named the Rookie of the Year in the conference. This one long on the serve. One of the few players that's on their national team, their senior national team. She comes from Bulgaria.
Very cool accomplishment.
Paloma Bowman back to serve. Grad transfer from UC Davis. Bit of a different story for her. There was no touch on that one, all tape, and that one will go to the Pilots. 4 touches by the Tigers, but as I was saying, Bowman didn't play indoor for the last couple of seasons, so a bit of a unique situation playing beach the last 2 years and then making the transition back indoor.
Yeah. That's quite an athlete, because I personally feel like both sports are very different.
The dig by Zilbert. Going over, Heller ready for it. The bump set by Tubbs. And the kill by Kaminsky. Abby Miller had the first attack into the block. As Tubbs will go back to serve. Sedona Sherman up at the net for the Tigers. And out of the middle again.
Very nice swing by Jade Harris.
Harris back to serve. Now we're setting up the middle. Sherman off the hands of the block. Lottie Helms swinging deep cross.
And she went up there, it was like she was hanging for so long in that air.
That athleticism is what Coach Burton and the rest of the coaching staff for Portland is really excited about for her. They focused mainly on her being a setter her first 2 years on campus, and now they're letting her swing and go all the way around. Edwards strong on that one, too far. And Pacific calling a timeout. They trail by 5. The Pilots on a 3-0 run, 9-4. Portland leading here in set number 2. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. No, Lonnie Helm with a big kill just before the timeout. Pilots leading 9-4. Heller saving that one. Sherman just able to tip it over. Zilbert getting a hand on it. A free ball from Portland. Back set to Abby Miller. Out of bounds. Point for the Pilots. Miller getting her first action in tonight's match. Freshman from Hillsborough, California. And this one into the net. And now something that you and I were talking about literally just seconds ago. Jade Harris is being subbed out for Alyssa Murioka.
Yeah, it looked like the Tigers were really focusing in on her during when they would serve. They were just had a target on her back, just serving Jade. So getting a little bit of reprieve as we have a DS come in for her.
Gabby Leo back to serve. The back set to Helm. Leo's out. And Carpenter got a touch off the block from Sweat. Bowman able to save it. Helm the tip. And Edwards, the hard swing. We got a touch call by the line judge on the Tigers side of the court. And that'll be point Pacific. Right now, Jade Harris, even though she's on the bench, leading all players in tonight's contest with 9 kills so far. It's Emma Sweat cross court. Leo unable to save it. Pilots extended back to 5.
She got up. I want to say, did that fall inside the 10-foot line?
Close to it.
Yeah.
Get a good look at it.
Oh, she's cutting right around that block. Oh.
Looked to be around 11, 12 feet on that one.
Yes.
It's Gianna Lawson back to serve. The quick set to Sherman. Harmon went up with it. I couldn't quite see where it was because of our position, but it looked like the block was up and ready for that quick set.
Yeah, or maybe the defense wasn't.
Alexa Edwards back to serve. Great pass from Marioka and the kill! That's the bread and butter of the Pilots. When their passing is on, you get plays just like that.
Yeah, whenever they can utilize the middle, I think that's going to make the outside hitter's job much easier.
And a brief timeout as Milani Helm reties her shoe.
Great pass. Oh yeah, wide open. Only a single blocker. Middle can have so many different angles to hit there.
The outside, Kumanova into the block. Reset for the Tigers. Back row attack by Edwards. And Harmon again out of the middle, but a double called on the Pilots. Sweat, Bowman, and Harmon swinging front row for the Pilots as Sedona Sherman back to serve. Marioka, couple of nice passes off the serve, and Harmon out of the middle again. Ilani Mumolo checking in, she'll go back to serve. Jade Harris checking in to swing in the front row.
Oh, nice swing right across the body.
Mumolo into the top of the tape.
It's like a lot of their last missed serves have been right into the tape, but look like they're attacking that short serve, trying to find somewhere inside that 10-foot line, take some of their hitters out of their offense.
Jeanette Heller back to serve. Third member of her family to attend Pacific. Dad played baseball for the Tigers, and her mom was a two-time All-American in volleyball for the Tigers.
She's a legacy.
And not the only one on this Tigers team, as Harris got the ball over. Cook on the swing, Mumolo on the dig, and a double called on Helm. Yeah, not only legacy for Heller, but legacy for Alexa Edwards as well. Her mom, Kathy Lum Edwards, won the national championship with Pacific back in 1986.
They're keeping it in the family. Love it.
Heller with the Tigers down by 3 on the serve. Harris into the block, Zilbert coverage. Harris going line. We got a good rally here inside of Childs.
He's looking for that donut area.
Back row attack by Edwards. That'll take Helm out of the play. A high bump set. Harris, smart move to send it in the back row. And Kaminsky powers her way through that swing of the block of Harmon and Bowman. And a point for the Tigers.
Harmon wanted that back. She wanted a little bit more penetration. She would have had her.
Set 2, the Tigers won set 1, 25-19. Now the Pilots leading set 2 by 2. The far set by Bowman. Harris across court. Past the sideline though. That was a good set by Bowman. Cross court right there to get her body underneath it. Had enough push to get it all the way there. A 4-0 run for Pacific. There they are, keying in on Harris again. Close set, and that one will go out of bounds.
It's the right idea, though. That area is open. Their setter's creeping up underneath that block.
And a timeout called on a 5-0 run for Pacific. They've tied it back up, 13-all between the two. We'll be right back in set 2 on the WCC Network. Pilots 500 in the WCC so far this season. Sweeping Gonzaga and swept by the Waves. They're trying to get back above 500. And Zilbert and the Pilots get aced. Tigers take a 1-point lead.
That was a great serve. Just kind of feeding that seam right between Zilbert and Harris. It's just a little miscommunication.
That's the 4th ace now, or correction, 5th ace for the Tigers. Harris cross court. And out of the 90-degree angle in the corner, the 10-foot line and the sideline. One of those is bound to fall in again for her. Heller going back on a 6-0 run. Jade Harris gets subbed out. Charity Bradley will enter today's contest for the first time.
We call that a coach's point,
Yep,
right?
right there. Just like the timeout, you hope it goes into the net on the next serve.
Yes.
Harmon heads to the bench. Zilbert back to serve. Charity Bradley coming back from injury over the last couple of weeks. Skaminski gets the ball over, and somehow Zilbert got a fist on it, and the Pilots unable to capitalize. A 6-1 run right now for the Tigers. Or correction, 7-1 run. Bradley down the line! That's her 9th kill on the season.
Well, she's made a statement coming into the match.
And part of the reason why Coach Burton and the rest of the staff wanted Bradley here is because of the experience she brings from Washington State as a grad transfer, part of 4 different Cougar teams that qualified for the NCAA tournament. The float from Bowman. Cook gets a fist on it, and Heller sends it back into play. Set out of the middle. Kumanova with a fist. Bradley cutting it tight down the 10-foot line, gets the kill again.
Maybe she's the answer Pilots are looking for, getting them back in this.
Just get somebody else out there swinging from different angles. So much room off the net to get that swing in. All tied up at 16. Beauty of a back set, and Cook slamming it down for the Tigers.
I guess that's an answer they have for Portland.
Jaden Tubbs back to serve.
Oh, yeah, huge hole in the block there.
Set back to Charity Bradley. Cook will have to dig that one out. Alexa Edwards gets a touch off the block. That's the 2nd touch now for the Pilots. Helm sends a free ball over. Solo block, Sedona Sherman off of Gianna Lawson. And that's so tough being a solo block out of the middle because the attacker going either way. And that is the danger of a float serve.
Yes.
It just dropped out completely in front of Charity Bradley for the ace.
It drops out, your stomach drops out, everything. As a passer.
Bowman able to get to it, and a free ball sent over by Grace Zilbert. I like the aggression from Bowman right there to try to push it to the back corner, but on the first play, it allowed Pacific to reset on a free ball. And the Pilots, once up by 5, now trail by 4, 20-16 here in set number 2. Tigers lead. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. Head coach Megan Burton in her second season as the head coach for the Portland Pilots. Was an assistant before she took over the head job. The Pilots trying to come back from a 4-point deficit. The roll by Helm, the dump again! Jenna Heller, the third time she's done that, the second time it's ended up in a kill. And she looks like she's walking gingerly right now. And you might have just seen it on that replay at the very end. She took a wrong step, looked like she could have stepped on her own teammate's foot.
She looks like she's breathing through some pain right now.
Great set, better block by the Tigers. Mumoa almost had the coverage on that one. And the Tigers take a 22-16 lead. They were on a 6-0 or 7-1 run. Now they are on a 6-0 run. Jaden Tubbs serving. They'll get the point. That one goes off the pin, off the hands of the Tigers. Mumoa out, Sweat in. Murioka back to serve for the Pilots. Charity Bradley heads to the bench. Murioka, a freshman from Honolulu, Hawaii. 2 digs in the last match against Pepperdine. 2 aces on the season. Out to Edwards. And it looked like the block was late going up. And Edwards, no opposition going against her. Easy kill.
Yeah, you definitely want a double block up against their player to watch.
And you see the score bug dropping down, the kills, 24 for Portland, 20 for the Tigers. Portland's hitting the ball better, but they've had more errors as well. Back set, Carpenter, and Emma Sweat coming up with the block. The freshman from Woodland, Washington, making her presence known inside the Child Center.
There's a little bright light.
Lawson went up with her, but it was all Sweat. And an ace!
We're starting to see a little fight from Portland.
Gianna Lawson going back to serve again. And a timeout called. 23-19, the Pilots trail by 4 to the Pacific Tigers. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. We've got a tight one here in set 2. Pilots trailing by 4. Brian Slyke, Carly Dumanin with the call. 23-19. Lawson with the serve. Sherman out of the middle, the block by Harmon and Sweat. They'll get a free ball to reset. Harmon out of the middle gets a tip. Murioka there to cover off the block. Sweat gets the tool and the point for the Pilots. 23-20. you're the Pilots, if you can get 1 or 2 more points right here, you're putting the Tigers on their heels. They've got no more timeouts to slow things down. You might have momentum on your side.
Oh.
And you speak about it like that, the broadcast jinx comes right back to bite you, and it's 24-20. Tigers lead. Alexa Edwards back to serve. Sweat goes cross court. Tubbs saves it with her chest. And Sweat, another kill.
As our offense starts speeding up because of the passings there, and you're starting to see that the Tigers aren't rotating fast enough to be able to keep up with those kinds of hits.
Coach Gibbons talking with the down referee. I'm not quite sure what they called there, but here's a look. And the one thing I liked about that last play, too, is they went right back to Sweat on that one, trusting the freshman to get a big kill.
And the tempo of that set was just awesome. Yeah, I'm curious what their coach is wanting them to look at. Looking at the replay, I didn't really see anything that seemed suspicious.
The way the down referee made a signal, it looked like it was almost in the net, possibly. But I didn't see
From Sweat, you think?
I don't think from Sweat. I think it might have been on the previous ball before it came back over.
Gotcha.
That's one of the tricky parts about doing the broadcast. You can't hear exactly what's going on between the coaches and the referees.
Yeah, they're too far away from us.
And the point will stay with Portland. Sherman, Carpenter, and Kumanova swinging for the Tigers. Nolani Helm back to serve. And the kill on the outside by Darina Kumanova will end set number 2, 25-21. Pilots now down 2 sets to nothing after a 25-19 victory and a 25-21 victory in set 2 for the Tigers. We'll be back in 5 minutes for set number 3 on the WCC Network. Welcome back onto the campus of the University of Portland. Just before we start set number 3, Brian Sly, Carly Jumanen with your call. Let's take a look at some of the stats throughout tonight's match. Yes, Portland is leading in kills, but it is a bit deceptive. They're also leading in the attacking error category. But 222 is around their season average, just above it, but Pacific is hitting well above their season average by about 60 points. And the aces as well was a big deal.
Yeah, the stat that you don't see in here, though, is serve receive, right? So I think that makes a huge difference. We're not able to set all of they're not able to set all of their hitters when serve receive passes are way off the net.
And that's something that the Pilots really pride themselves on. They know they're not the biggest team out there on the court, so they have to do the little things, passing well and serving well. And in set 1, that was something that seemed to evade them on the serve-receive end. And then in set 2, Coach Burton and the rest of the coaching staff making some changes in the back row to get some better passing as Alyssa Murioka got in there, and she did pretty well in her limited action.
Yes, I just love the energy that she brought into the court and just the calmness to that serve receive in the back row.
And we were talking about it before we got back on the air, but the effectiveness of the middle for the Tigers was evident in that first set. And then in set number 2, it seemed like the Portland middles were able to get a hand on some of those swings, and they were ready for the quick attacks.
Yes.
Mumolo starting set 3. Showing off the strength they've built up in the weight room right there as that one sails long. As Edwards will now serve. Harris into the block, and they'll get the kill as that one goes out of bounds across the court.
You can see when they take care of the serve receive ball that it opens up a lot for their hitters.
How about the sheer force on that swing from Harris to bounce that one off the block across the court. Great set to Sedona Sherman, Gabby Leo. Effortless on that quick set behind her.
You blink and it was down.
Sherman now back to serve. Gianna Lawson!
I've been waiting for that all match.
That's something that Coach Burton talked about with me earlier today, is how they've been working out of the middle and trying to build that connection between Harmon and Lawson with Helm and Bowman, and right there, perfect set on the quick. Leo setting it cross court. Kumanova dropping that one campfire. Reset, back row attack by Edwards. And another kill for Harris going off the arm of Carpenter and out of bounds. Harris picking up her 11th kill. She leads everybody out on the court tonight. Season high for Harris is 18 kills. The Pilots trying to complete the reverse sweep now after falling behind 2-0. The set out of the middle for Kaminsky.
Great dig.
And Helm swinging cross court. Leo got a hand on it. And the free ball by Jaden Tubbs. Reset by Zilbert. The back set into Helm. Oh! What a great sequence right there. The free ball reset by Zilbert. Great pass right there. That's where it all starts. And the back set to Helm. The blocker's late. Deep swing by Carpenter, and Mumolo knew she was in the wrong right there. Didn't get the best read on it.
Yep, she looked like she got a little sucked into the court, and so then that ball just came up on her a little too fast for her to handle.
Jenna Heller now back to serve. Only 23 kills for the Tigers. Back set to Jade Harris. We've got a touch. And that one goes for the Pilots. Lumoa will head to the bench. Emma Sweat, the former Washington Gatorade Player of the Year, now on the court in the front row for the Pilots. Edwards in on the cross-court attack.
Looks like Zilberg got sucked into the court there a little bit. She looked at her sideline like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to be.
Side-out drills you do in practice to really get a feel for where the court is at all times.
Yep.
Kumanova serving. Lawson out of the middle, and she never got that one over the tape. 4 touches for the Pilots. And the Tigers, they were just down by 2 now, tied up at 5 here in set number 3.
It's crazy how fast the momentum can swing in this game.
Murioka, another dime pass. Helm with some choice words for herself right there, unable to get that one over.
That's a beautiful service pass.
And Murioka's done that 3 or 4 times already in limited action. She saw a few serves at the end of set 2. And again.
Nice.
Lawson out of the middle, but Jaden Tubbs, platform in the right spot for the dig. Out to Sweat, into the block. Roofed. And the Tigers extend that lead to 2.
Yep. Tigers 4 blocks versus our 2. Oh.
Darina, Kumanova serving again, and Murioka, that time, unable to keep that one on the court, and another ace for the Tigers. It's now 7 on the night for them, compared to Portland's 1 ace. We've seen some ebb and flow in the attacking percentages. Great serve, better up by Zilbert, and Helm long on that one. And the lead now extended to 4. And Coach Burton not liking what she's seeing here now in the 3rd set, calls a timeout, 9-5. We head to break. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. Look at Coach Burton here after she called the timeout here in set 3 in her 2nd season, and doing a good job trying to turn this pilot program around. Let's take a look at the schedule for the Pilots in their next upcoming matches. We've got St. Mary's coming up on Saturday, and then they hit the road to go to Provo, Utah to take on BYU, then down to San Diego before they come back home to take on Santa Clara. And Emma Sweat down the line! We talked about how young this team is, and you see the potential on the court right now. Emma Sweat, a young freshman. Gianna Lawson, just a sophomore year-wise, freshman eligibility. Back set to Cook, down the line herself, and the Tigers get the point back.
But I agree with you. They have a lot of athletes on this team that are just super athletic, and excited to see how far they go this year.
And somebody who doesn't get nearly as much credit as she should, as most middle blockers usually don't, is Chelsea Harmon. She's swinging at a high clip out of the middle when she does get set, and here she does. and sends a free ball, or a tip over, I should say. It's Edwards with the kill. Coming into this match, it seemed like the Pilots and the Tigers were evenly matched, and it has still seemed like that. It's just the errors have been an issue, and the lack of productive passing.
Yes.
Sweat with the tip. Back row attack. Her foot was in front of the line, though, and that is what they're going to call over. No part of your foot can go in front of that line. You can be on the line, but not in front of it, if I remember correctly. That's how we played it.
Okay. I can't remember now.
Set to the outside, Edwards. Edwards again muscles that one through the block of Bowman and Harmon. Five-point lead now for the Tigers as Gabby Leo will head back to serve. Cook and Heller to the bench. Carpenter out on the court now. Some things we've noticed throughout the sets. Jade Harris no longer in the back row passing. That's why we have Alyssa Muraoka, freshman from Honolulu, Hawaii, getting some play here in the last couple of sets. And dives in front of the libero, and that's another ace for the Tigers. Eight now on the afternoon. Bowman into the block. Zilbert covers. And this one into the net, an attacking error for the Pilots. There's been some ebb and flow in the hitting percentages between these two teams. Pacific started hitting out at over 320 on the afternoon. At one point, they dipped down to 104. Now they're back up to 304. Set to Bowman going cross court. And long on that attempt, out of bounds. And a timeout called by Portland. That will be their second timeout. We'll be right back on the WCC Network. 15-7 Pacific leading the Pilots here in set number 3. A 4-0 scoring run and a timeout by Portland just now. It's 15-7 in set number 3. Pilots trying to steal a set from the Tigers and keep this match going. Emma Sweat coming up big on the right side.
You can see we get their kills when they don't have to keep on pushing it outside. They can start utilizing all 3 hitters versus just the outside pin hitter.
Muraoka and Sweat to the bench. Mumowo and Harris back out on the court. Back set by Leo. Edwards going cross court. And that one out of the field of play. Point for the Pilots. Leo diving to get a touch on it. And a roll shot from Tubbs in the back row. Harris with the kill. Frustration from Kubanova. Thought she was in the right spot, just couldn't get her platform up in time.
Yeah. We've all been there.
And a timeout called, 15-10 inside the Child Center. Set number 3, the Tigers leading the Pilots. We'll be back. Welcome back inside the Child Center. Set number 3. The Tigers lead 2-0. Brian Slide, Carly Dumanin with your call. Mumoa, excellent placement on that serve to try to get the Tigers out of rotation. Tubbs staying with it off the block. Helm got her elbow on it. Mumoa with a fist, but that one will go into the stands. And point for the Tigers. Gotta love that effort, though, from the Pilots chasing that ball down. Not just one of the players. Yep. All 6 players on the court went after that one. And here, something that you and I were just talking about, we haven't seen Nevaeh Bray very much after the first set. Now she's checking back in for Paloma Bowman.
Right.
In the front row. Edwards serving. And this is a night that Jade Harris, passing-wise, would like to forget, as the Tigers have just been keying in on her all match. Zilbert will take this one. Harmon out of the middle and comes up short on the tip.
Maybe just a little bit out of her reach. Oh, so close.
Now it's 18-10. Great pass from Zilbert from her side. Harris into the block. Zilbert covers. And a point for the Tigers. I know the Pilots didn't get the full cover on that one, but Zilbert setting up perfectly in the right spot, ready for it.
Yeah, that was
unable to keep it into the court.
Oh, she's there.
Harris swinging deep and too far this time. No connection on the block.
Yeah, she looked like she was looking for some high hands.
She's gotten away with a couple of those so far in tonight's match. 20-10. Bray with a deep swing. Dug out by Leo. Umanova a swing. Zilbert gets the dig. And out of bounds called by the line judge. Not seen by the up ref yet, and finally seen.
You think because she ran
No, it's she tried to pass it back in, but it was on the outside of the pin.
Antenna. Okay. I was thinking he was pointing that she was out of bounds.
Off the court of play.
Yes.
And Charity Bradley going off high tape, unable to get it over, and this lead extends to 12 now. For the Tigers, they're on a 7-0 run. And the Pilots have just become flat, it seems, late in the third set. Gotta love the effort from Helm right there. She hit the ground hard. And this third set is in no way how the rest of this match has been played out. The first two sets were pretty darn close. A couple of errors from the Pilots, and it probably could have gone their way. And now they trail by 12 as Helm tying up her shoe. As Alexa Edwards back to serve again. Back set to Bray, tips into the middle. Gabby Leo with the dig. Bradley the cross into the platform of Edwards. Carpenter into the block. And they got it over.
Wow.
And they get the block, the solo block out of the middle by Sedona Sherman. And now it's match point for Alexa Edwards. And Bradley, that one will go out of bounds off the line judge. And that will end tonight's match. 3 sets to none, 25-19, 25-21, and 25-10, all in favor of Pacific. And Carly, what were your thoughts on tonight's match on both sides?
Both sides. I would say that the Tigers really kind of stole UP's game plan. They served tough and just got UP out of system. And as far as errors go, just too many outside sets where we weren't utilizing the they weren't utilizing the outside or the right or middle blocker. So it made a very large block for the outsides to be able to be successful.
Well, that's Carly Dumanin. I'm Brian Slyke. Thank you for joining us for our broadcast inside the Child Center. Catch us next time on Saturday at noon when the Pilots host St. Mary's. We'll catch you then on the WCC Network.